What's up, everybody? Super Dirks fan here for Mustang Weekly Update number 7 on this Friday. So, what's new with the Mustang? Well, it's almost at 4,000 miles now, so still racking them up good, and the car's still running well. And sorry that it's kind of dark. I'm filming this video at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's like so dark that it's like hard to see me already. It's crazy. I'm like, I know it's just the beginning of winter, but I'm already sick of it. Like, I feel like I need to do some filming in a different, warmer climate at some point this winter time, because this is already like getting old. That's one thing. Like, I was filming a car review today, for example, that'll be uploaded on Christmas Eve, and it was like so cold. I had to like film outside for, you know, like 15 minutes or so, and then because of the wind and everything, I had to go inside the car, warm up for 20 minutes, and then come back out, film some more. It's just like such a pain. And there's like so many more videos of the Mustang here that I want to do that all involve me being outside filming and stuff like that, or someone being outside and filming while I drive. And it's just kind of hard to do all these videos in the winter time. That's one thing that sucks about living in Pittsburgh, is the weather is not nice from like December until March. So just makes it a little bit tougher. But anyway, that's another rant for another day. As far as the Mustang goes, otherwise, you know, it's great. I'll give it a little update. You know, one thing was, last week I talked about the fuel economy and how it hasn't been so great. It's improved a little bit this week. I'm getting about 25 miles to the gallon. I think, you know, I've read a lot of the comments that you guys said about, you know, a lot of it has to do with, like I mentioned, either the winter blend of gas or the fact that cars in general, just whether it's, you know, the heating up that they do and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Someone mentioned an interesting thing about these Ford engines with the direct injection. It's terrible in the wintertime with warming the car up and stuff, and so it really kills fuel economy. And I know some of you have even said that your economy has dropped normally every winter much worse than mine has even. So some of you said, oh yeah, I'm getting 5 less than I normally do. So I guess it's not so bad after all. So thank you so much for all of you that chimed in about your winter experiences. I love hearing from you guys about, you know, how things are going for you guys, and, you know, if the things that I'm going through are things that you're going through as well. So it's very cool to hear that I'm not the only one that has their fuel economy dipping. And, you know, like I said, I didn't think it was anything with the car or anything like that. It's just, you know, like other people have you know, said as far as the creaks and the rattles and stuff, that, you know, it's just wintertime is very hard on a car, especially when it's cold and snowy and icy and all that kind of stuff. It really is just not the ideal place, you know, for a car. So yeah, you know, so everything that you know, the creaks and the rattles and the bad fuel economy, all that stuff, I'm sure will go away in the spring. Speaking of the spring, I can't wait for it, not only because it'll be warmer, but also because I'm starting to get the mod itch. You know, I feel like at this point, like, I don't know, I mean, I still have to do some more research into the tunes and see just how reliable it will be. And, you know, my concern is still with the drivetrain. I know that the tunes are normally safe for the engine for the most part, but I'm worried about whether or not this clutch can handle 100 foot-pounds of extra torque. And so, but I really would love to do a stage 1 tune from one of the tuners, you know, in the springtime. That'd be great. And otherwise, you know, I'll just go over my mod plans a little bit, because some people still ask me. I know I mentioned, I think in the second weekly update, about my mod plans, but just real quick again, you know, I'd love to do that tune. I'd love to do an exhaust. That's another thing, is there's very few good sounding exhausts for this car so far. Most of them sound really ricey and awful. I know it's a 4-cylinder Mustang. It's not going to sound like a V8 or even a V6. Both of those sound better, but hopefully there'll be someone that comes out with some kind of unique sound that makes this sound really good. There's 2 so far that I'm kind of liking, but I'm not totally sold on them. So I'm just going to hold off, you know, until the spring anyway, because I can't do anything till then. I still really want to get wheels and tires, all that kind of stuff. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, I'm still loving it just the way it is, but I'm getting to the point now where I want to start personalizing it, making it mine. Because, you know, driving a stock car is fine. A lot of stock cars are perfect stock. I mean, this car is spectacular, just the way it came from the factory. But there's always just even small things that you can do just to personalize it, to make it your car, you know, not just another one that, you know, you could buy a duplicate at the dealership. And so that's kind of the reason I like personalizing the car, is to kind of put my own take on it and stuff. And so yeah, you know, but that's about it as far as all the updates though. So I'll send it back to me at the news desk for this week's news. Right, for this week's news, the first thing is some very good news for Honda fans, and that is the Type R engine is going to be coming to the US. So, you know, the sweet looking Type R that everyone wanted, there's even petitions out there trying to get this car to America. Unfortunately, you know, it's based on the European body, and that is a body style that isn't compliant with US standards, so the actual Type R itself can't come to the US. But they're going to be bringing the engine, which is making anywhere between 276 horsepower to 320 horsepower, here to America, and it's going to be in some type of Civic probably. They don't know if it's going to be a completely redesigned Civic Si that may look a lot like this one, or if it's just going to be in the standard carryover model as a new high-performance Type R model. No one really knows, but at least the engine's coming, so it's something for Honda fans. I guess, you know, you can't have the whole car, but they'll at least give you the engine. So that's some good news there. The next bit of good news is Infiniti teased the new Q60 concept that they're going to be bringing to Detroit. And if you remember from the weekly news a couple weeks ago, Infiniti's, one of their main guys said that the Infiniti Q60 concept is going to be very, very close to what the new Infiniti G37 coupe is going to be looking like. And it'll probably have a different name. It'll be called, you know, something else. But they're saying this is very close to the production version. So this isn't just some swoopy concept. That beautiful design is going to be most likely headed to production, which is really exciting. I think it looks amazing. Can't wait to see it in Detroit. In some other Detroit news, remember recently I just talked about how the Ford GT successor may be coming to Detroit. Well, it looks like now the rumors are suggesting that it definitely is coming to Detroit, a new Ford supercar. But they're saying it might ditch the retro styling and that it's actually just going to be a new supercar. It may be still called the Ford GT, no one really knows, but it's going to be, you know, there's going to be a racing version because Ford actually wants to get into racing. This will be the production version of that, and it may just be a modern looking car. But either way, a Ford supercar sounds awesome to me, so very excited to see that. Another exciting supercar that's debuting in Detroit is the Acura NSX. It's been officially confirmed it's finally going to be making its production debut at Detroit. It's finally coming out, believe it or not. After all this time of waiting and multiple concepts, and it's finally coming out. So they released some teasers of it looking very nice in this red color, and yeah, it's going to be awesome. Twin-turbo hybrid powertrain, and I'm just excited to finally see them out. You know, hopefully they'll be coming to production early next year, and we won't have to wait too long to see them on the streets. Other good Detroit news is that it's been confirmed that the new Cadillac CTS-V is going to be debuting in Detroit. So, you know, we have the ATS-V that just debuted, and now they're going to be doing the CTS-V here in Detroit. There's rumors it's going to have 640 horsepower. No one really knows, but that's going to be awesome regardless of how much horsepower it makes. I'm sure it's not going to disappoint. So very exciting to see that. In some other Cadillac news, there's been some talk about the new CT6, which is their flagship that was originally going to be like an El Mirage sedan since they wouldn't do a coupe. But now they're saying that the styling of the new CT6 is still going to be typical Cadillac. They said it'll look a little nicer, you know, it'll be set apart from the standard lower Cadillac models, but it's still going to look like all the other Cadillacs for the most part, which is somewhat disappointing because everyone loved the El Mirage. And whenever you strike gold with a design and it's a beautiful car that everyone loves, just make it. You can't go wrong. Like, why take a risk with a different styling direction, you know, just going with the same Cadillac styling, which is good, but whenever you could have something so gorgeous as the El Mirage, I think everyone's just like, please, if you build it, we will come. And yeah, they're just not building it. So we're going to get a CT6. It's going to be an awesome flagship car, but it won't look like an El Mirage, unfortunately, which is very sad to see. One cool thing it will have, though, is it's going to have a high-res video rearview mirror. They're saying they're not going to have an actual rearview mirror in it. It's going to be a video screen, and it's going to be in the same place as it always is, you know, the rearview mirror, but it's going to be video, which is pretty cool, and I think that's, you know, with backup cameras being standard these days, it's kind of common that that's what's going to happen, is they'll just make it a video screen, and I think that's really cool. So, interesting to see that. While we're talking about flagship sedans, though, this is really speculative, but I thought it was cool to mention. The musician Neil Young, he's working on an infotainment system with Lincoln and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, in an interview, he mentioned that they were developing a system, a music system for the new 2016 Lincoln Continental, which has people like me scratching our heads saying, what? There is no new Lincoln Continental. What are you talking about? So he either might be mistaken. They're doing an old Lincoln Continental that they're like putting an electric power plant in or something, some kind of small project that's just, you know, thing that he's doing. It's not a Lincoln project. And I mean, the fact that he said a 2016 Lincoln Continental, no one's seen spy shots of a flagship Lincoln or anything, so for it to be a 2016 model means it would be coming out sometime next year, which seems way too soon. You would think we would have heard something, unless it's a really good kept secret. I don't know what's going on. It would make sense, you know, if Cadillac coming off the CT6, Lincoln would be awesome if they would do battle with Cadillac and come out with their own flagship sedan, and to bring back the Continental nameplate would be amazing, because, you know, retro lovers like myself, that makes me weak in the knees. A new Lincoln Continental would be amazing. So I'm not sure. I'm really hoping that there is one, but something about this story doesn't add up. It's just very interesting. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. I'd love to hear what some of you think about that report. In some more probable Lincoln news, there were some spy shots here of the 2016 Lincoln MKX that was spied in production form. And, you know, so it looks a lot like the MKC, and it looks a lot like the MKX concept that came out earlier this year. Clearly, Lincoln knows that they have a beautiful car with, you know, the current MKC and the MKZ. So they're leaning heavily on that styling here. It looks very similar to an MKC, in my opinion. It's just larger, of course. You know, I think it looks really good, though. I think they all look beautiful. All the new Lincolns are just gorgeous, in my opinion. So it's cool they're sticking to that great formula with the new MKX. That should be out very soon. Some other Detroit news. Lexus is bringing a new F model to Detroit. They just released a teaser, and from the headlights, you can guess that it's probably the new Lexus GSF, which we've been waiting for forever. I've seen spy shots of a GSF for the past 2 years, I think, and it's finally looks like they're bringing one to market here. So looks awesome, and it's very exciting to see that. Jaguar and Land Rover came out with some very cool technology this week that they're working on, and the first is the transparent A-pillar. So, you know, A-pillars kind of get in the way, and, you know, some of the cars I review, they're really obtrusive, and I mentioned that, but most of the time it's pretty good in modern cars that you can still see around them pretty well. Jaguar wants to get rid of that problem altogether by just having transparent A-pillars. So the whole A-pillar would essentially be a screen that would just have an image on it, and it would just have a video camera to project whatever is, you know, being obscured by the A-pillar, and so they would basically become invisible. You would see it's obviously a screen, it's not like it's real life, but still, it's very cool technology, and I think it's a very ingenious solution. And another cool thing that they're doing is they want to have a heads-up display style system with a ghost car. So basically, you know, they want to make it easier to follow your navigation system. So instead of just you saying, whenever it says turn right here, and you're like, is it this street, and you turn or whatever, this is actually going to have a ghost car you can follow. So again, very just outside of the box thinking that makes total sense. I think that's amazing. So basically, it would project a ghost car on your windshield that you could kind of follow, and that's such cool technology. I really hope that this gets into production very soon, because that'll make Jaguars and Land Rovers be extremely hot sellers, because that is a very cool feature, and I think a lot of people would like that. While we're talking about Jaguar and Land Rover, there were some Land Rovers stolen this past week from the set of the James Bond movie Spectre. So they're being stored, they were being prepared for filming. There was 9 customized Land Rovers that were going to be used for filming. They're probably like the new Range Rovers or something. Not sure what they would be used for. They were just customized. Probably bad guy cars is my guess, which, you know, they'll be chasing James Bond around or something. But anyway, they were stolen. Someone just heisted 9 cars. So it's like Inception. It's like a James Bond movie within a James Bond movie. It's kind of funny. So very cool to see that they were stolen. It's like the least expected thing you would think. I think you know, Daniel Craig should go hunt them down. But in all seriousness, that kind of sucks. Hopefully it doesn't delay the filming of the movie, and they find them very soon. But this story is almost a week old, and they still haven't found them. So whoever heisted them did a good job. So very interesting to see that. In some other James Bond news, speaking about bad guys and stuff, it was announced this week that James Bond's villain, whoever the arch villain is in the new movie, he's going to be driving the new Jaguar CX-75 supercar, which is the one that Jaguar has said they will never make. It was the hybrid supercar they couldn't afford to make, sadly. That's gorgeous looking, and so I guess they're building some one-off ones to be used for stunt work and things like that. but they're just movie cars, and so yeah. But that is what the villain is going to be driving. So it's going to be the villain in a Jaguar CX-75 versus James Bond in his new DB10, which is going to make for some amazing car chases, I'm sure. I mean, I wish they would have used a production Jag. You know, it would have been cool to see a villain in an F-Type R, since that's such a villainous car, and I love F-Types. But the CX-75 is sweet too, so very excited for this new James Bond movie. While we're talking about amazing concepts, though, and things like that, Infiniti, they officially unveiled their version of the Vision Gran Turismo concept that they're doing. Looks pretty amazing, and, you know, hopefully some of this styling carries over into the, you know, new G Coupe that, you know, they said will be debuting in Detroit. That would be awesome, because that looks sweet. Of course, they'll never build it. It's just for the video game, but cool to see nonetheless. Another story about crazy supercars and stuff is Koenigsegg. There's a report this week saying that they want to come to North America with 2 models. So, I mean, so far they are selling Koenigsegg's in America, but I mean, how many people buy Koenigsegg every day? I think they're delivering one of the one-to-one, you know, Koenigsegg Ageras to a customer in America. And aside from that, though, they said they want to develop a new entry-level model that's 650 grand that they would actually develop for American standards specifically as far as safety standards, because I think the Agera can get in the U.S. under some kind of exemption, but it doesn't have the right airbags to be, you know, a car that's mass produced or whatever for the U.S. Not that they ever would mass produce it, but very interesting to see that they want to actually do this. They want to have more showrooms, and Koenigsegg wants to firmly establish themselves here in North America, which is very exciting to see. And for some more ordinary news, Audi released 2 new cars this week. The first is the next generation Audi Q7, which is supposed to be coming out in Detroit, but they just decided to show it early. So they've debuted it, and it looks nothing like anyone expected it to look. It actually has a very wagon look to it. It looks lower. It doesn't really look even like an SUV almost. It's got a slightly taller profile, but it's very interesting looking. It's been put on a huge diet, they've said. It's lost, I think, 700 pounds. So it's actually gotten smaller, I think. Pretty amazing, though. I think this is a good direction. It's going to be more economical, I'm sure. I think it looks great. So very cool to see that. The other Audi car that was debuted this week is the Audi RS3 Sportback, which looks flippin' awesome, and it's not coming to America. So, man, the Europeans get all the sweet European cars. I guess that makes sense. But, yeah, so that's not coming to America, sadly, but it looks amazing. It has all kinds of powerful horsepower. I think 343 horsepower from a 2.5 liter 5-cylinder, and it's you know, insane performance. 4.3 seconds 0 to 60 for, you know, an RS3 is pretty bonkers. So yeah, but sadly, like I said, not for the US, unfortunately. For some Porsche news this week, first, Porsche said that their sales have been excellent this year, which is always good to hear, and that also they've sold their final 918 Spider, so they're officially sold out. I know the McLaren P1 is officially sold out. These hypercars are going to be really hard to get a hold of, because I'm sure there'll be huge markups on them now. I think the Ferrari, I'm not sure if the LaFerrari is totally sold out, but I'm sure it probably is. So yeah, if you want to just walk in and order a hypercar, you can't do it anymore. They're all sold out, sadly. So that's a bummer, but it's going to be very sweet to see all these in some very happy owners' hands very soon. So awesome, awesome. The other Porsche news is that this is a story that just came out at the very end of last week and I missed it, and that is that Porsche's new 911 GT3 RS was spied testing in the snow, and looks pretty awesome. I don't know why they're even testing it in the snow, to be perfectly honest, though. I mean, who in their right mind would drive a GT3 RS in the snow? I don't know. But they're testing it in the snow nonetheless. So very cool to see that, and I mean, it has these sweet fender vents and the crazy huge wing and everything. It's awesome to see that. So yeah, Porsche's up to some good stuff. KTM is coming out with the new Expo GT4, which has 320 horsepower, and it looks pretty crazy, actually. I think that actually looks really good. And yeah, it's a render so far. It's just being teased. It's not coming out just yet, but it's going to have a 6-speed sequential gearbox, all kinds of good stuff. So very sweet to see that. But yeah, so that's it for all the news this week, guys. I'll send it back to me in the car. Alright, so I'll leave you guys with a nice little acceleration here, like I always do. Oh, Oh, it's fun. Like I said, I have the mod itch and I'd like to do a tune, but even just stock, this car is plenty quick. And with traffic and stuff, it's hard to even use, you know, more power anyway. This is more power than I can even use on most days anyway. I very rarely feel the need like, oh, I gotta go full throttle. Like in the BRZ, I was constantly, my foot was just in the floor of that car all the time because you just needed that much, you know, throttle input just to get it to go somewhere. But this, I mean, it's so much power. I love it. It's great. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next week. Take care.